Okay, welcome back for another tutorial. This one is going to be a very good outdoor example of removing a lot of objects in the background. Basically, we want to take out all the houses and all of the trees. Also, there's a background enhancement layer on this, which means that a lot of the sky was brought back, which is great, but in hindsight it also leaves a bit of a halo around the model, so we will need to remove that halo as well. And then as well as just kind of re-going over our basic background enhancements. So first thing I'm going to do is flatten the image all the way so I know I'm working from a full layer. I'm going to copy that background layer, rename it Retouch. So first things first, I want to get rid of these trees and all those houses. So what I'm going to do is take my polygonal marquee tool up here in the top left, and I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm going to kind of find a horizon line here. So I'm going to select just under where these cars are. I can see that's kind of where the hilltop starts. And select right around them. And then I'm going to go up her dress here. Sounds bad, but that's what I'm doing. Just be very careful. Here we go. And then I'm going to go a little bit higher too, because we need to pull from the sky. Okay, I'm going to come over here and make a square. Connect the dots. There we go. Okay, so now I have this whole selection together. I'm going to take my stamp tool now. I'm going to up the opacity to 100%. Enlarge my stamper here. And basically, I'm just going to pull from what's available up here to copy down here. It doesn't have to be super precise. We just want it to look pretty natural. To keep it from getting that kind of repeated look, I'm going to pull from over here too. Pull from different sources so that way you have a bit of a variety. Perfect. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that, I think. So I'm going to Control D to deselect. Get rid of a little spot there. So it's pretty clean. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little blur tool here and go along the edge. Kind of tone that down. Same thing along the side of her dress here. And no more trees or houses. This is actually a pretty easy fix. When the horizon line has a lot more detail in the grass blades, that's when it becomes a bit of a honky-dory to do. So this isn't too bad. In that case, if you have to reinsert texture into the edge of the grass, sometimes I will take a photo of, a field or whatnot and use that as a source image, or find another photo that's similar in a batch that you're doing, or a previous batch even, and find something to use as source material. So anything that makes it look more natural is a good thing. There we go. Go back to my stamp tool here. And I'm going to pull from over here. Just so again, whoops, wrong button. Darn Windows 8. There we go. Every now and then when I'm using the stamp tool, use your alternate key. And every now and then I kind of misplace that and hit the Windows key and it takes me to the Windows 8 desktop, which is super fun. Alrighty. There we go. So I'm going to again go back to my blur tool here and kind of blur that out some along with the edge of her dress. You can see my stamp tool kind of didn't go all the way over on this over here. There we go. Alright, let's see. So I'm going to try and bring back a little bit of texture at the top here by pulling from this other blades of grass. Just a touch. There we go. And I'm going to reduce the size of my brush pretty significantly here. And zoom in some more. And then kind of jag in here a little bit so it looks like it's not quite such a clean edge. There we go. Just to look like it's actually grass sticking up. Again, retouching is a lot like painting in a lot of ways, which is probably why I love it so much. Alright. Very, very good. So our background fix is pretty much completed. I'm gonna blur that out a bit. This little thing, I don't know if it's a flower or a piece of trash, so I'm gonna take that out. I don't think I saw. That is a flower, but it's still starkly bright, so I'm gonna still take it out. Anything that's distracting to the photo is never really a good thing. Okay. I guess there's a lot of flowers, so I'll just leave those ones. They're not close to her dress. This one over here, though, it's purple even. This doesn't even match. So I'm gonna get rid of that. There we go. That's better. Yay. So now, no more houses. Hooray. I'm gonna go ahead and take my burn tool over here and just burn a little bit at the tops. It gets a little bit extra depth, so it looks like it's receding in the background. There we go, and I think we're good. Now there's some lens dust or whatnot up here, so I'm going to use my patch tool to take those out. Pretty much everyone gets these when they're shooting. They're pretty standard. A little bit of dust spots up here. I know I have to clean my lens quite often because I tend to get these a lot. It's a beautiful sky, so I don't want to do a whole lot to it. Perfect, I don't see any more. Alrighty. So we have our background replacement done. So now what I'm going to do is tackle the halo that's around her. It's not very pronounced, mostly probably because the background is pretty light. When you have more of a sunset background, it becomes much more noticeable. But this actually really isn't too bad. So what I'm going to do is I got my the stamp tool here, and you can kind of see where it gets lighter around the edge. I have it at 100%. I'm just going to go in and paint in along the edge here, and you can kind of see it starting to fill in with the actual color it's supposed to be. We don't want that white halo around her. We want to get rid of that. And when we're all done getting rid of this halo and we turn the preview on and off, you will definitely be able to see a difference. So it doesn't look like much now when you're doing it bit by bit, but it does help quite a bit. So I just have a small brush zoomed in way far and just taking my time. I'm actually going to zoom even more in here, especially when you get in these little crannies. You want to make sure you don't paint over anything. There we go. I'm just going to keep going here. It's a bit of a tedious task, but it will look so much better. There we go. And I just paint outwards until all the colors are the same. So I'll start in at the edge and I'll bring it out. There we go. Obviously, if it's a white cloud up next to it, then you don't have to do anything. So here it's pretty dark. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that and use the patch tool to kind of blend this selection together. There we go. I'm going to keep going. Gets a little difficult when there's clouds and a pattern of clouds. Just do the best you can and use the patch tool to kind of pull from other areas if you need to kind of blend those sections together. Just like so. Obviously, when you're looking at a photo, you're like, oh, that cloud's not supposed to be there, because clouds are random. You've got a pretty good leeway. So over here, it's pretty darn light, so I don't have to do a whole lot of halo fixing on this side. Get rid of the stray hairs while I'm at it. It's pretty easy on a sky like this. She's actually got pretty easy hair to fix. There we go. If there are large portions of her hair blowing in the wind, just clean up the little stray hairs and anything that looks enormously out of place. Otherwise, you'll probably want to leave a good portion of it as is unless directed, because you don't want it, again, to look fake. Because if she's out sitting in the wind, obviously she's going to have blowing hair. Alright. So again, we're at the end of her hair here. I'm going to leave some of these stray hairs so it doesn't look completely unnatural. Alright. So now when I zoom out, well, my bad, I didn't finish the actual dress. Finish the hair. I was like, yeah, I'm done with the hair, and then I forgot the halo around the rest of her. Hi, Shannon. There we go. I guess I should turn off my Gmail notifier. There we go. There we are. It's not too bad of a halo down here, mostly because this is also where I kind of fixed the background. So I can see where it starts there. Alrighty. So when I turn the halo off and on, you can kind of see it. Again, it's not that bad in this photo, so it's kind of hard to notice. Okay, so now our background fix is done and the halo is gone. So now I'm going to go ahead and start in on the normal retouching. And it looks like her skin's pretty darn good, so I won't have to do a whole lot. I'll get rid of the blemishes in the armpit here. She has basically no neckline, which is awesome. Her face is pretty much perfect in every way. Alright, nothing even under the eyes. Man. A little bit of shine there. Just a little bit. And I'm not sure if this is makeup or shadow. I'm going to go ahead and tame that down a little bit. So now I turn on and off. So I'm going to use my stamp tool to tone this down a little bit. And just kind of blend that in a little bit better. Since her skin is so smooth here, I'm not going to use portraiture on her. Okay, I'm going to take a look at her elbow here and just kind of soften that just a little bit. There we go. Alright. Skin retouching is pretty much done. I'm going to smooth out her arm here a little bit. Sometimes when you're using the patch tool, it does leave a little bit of a marky outline distortion where the line was. Her eyes are pretty dark. I'm going to go ahead and lighten those up with the dodge tool. Again, she has dark eyes, so there's not going to be a whole lot you're going to be able to do. I'll tone that down just a little bit with the eraser tool. About 50%. Kind of got outside of her eyes here, so I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So the retouching phase is done. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the background enhancements. I already have my actions made. I did explain how to make these actions in the flyaway hair outdoor photo video, so you can reference that video if you need to make these from scratch. So first I'm going to use my saturation, so I'm going to highlight saturation and hit play. So I can probably go a little bit higher. I always start around 15 just as a starting point, and then I can kind of adjust from there, because different photos are going to obviously leave you in different situations. So this one needs a little bit higher, so that'll be good. Go ahead and select the layer portion and take my eraser tool and bump that up to 100%. And again, I need to delete her from the saturation level because I don't want her to be super saturated, just the background. So I'm going to delete her from that layer so she stays nice and natural. Go. Alrighty. Much better. And then I'm going to bring over my pop star layer from this file that I have previously. It's got a clean pop star layer, it just adds a bump of contrast. I'm going to take that and drag that over to this photo. And as you can see, it adds a nice little pop to it. Go ahead and delete her from that layer as well, because we don't want her to be contrasty. It tends to blow colors and shadows out, especially in her hair, which is no good. And then last but not least, our burn layer. I'm going to choose our vertical burn here, and then excuse me, I'm going to hit play. Oh no, that wasn't supposed to happen. Well, normally that would make a burn layer with a halo across and it would finish your image. It appears I forgot to hit save or stop and it deleted my image. So sorry about that, but that does actually conclude the video. Thank you.